What's up? It's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. Today we're doing my tier ranking for every book I read in 2020. I read 147 books. Somehow I ended up with 143. I didn't count reread, but I only reread 3 books. It just didn't add up, so whatever. 143 is plenty. I'm kind of nervous for this. I've been nervous for this video. Just figured out how to do this like screen recording thing on my laptop. I really hope I don't have any technical difficulties because I know this video is going to be really long. I'm sorry in advance, but I mean, can't be worse than having to edit it, right? Right. Let me just talk about this shirt real quick. I got it from Barnes & Noble for $12 in Georgia. It's The Handmaid's Tale, and then it has them two down there. I'm assuming it's June and one of her little buddies. If you haven't seen the show, go watch it, but read the book first. I read it in 2020 and I absolutely loved it, and Xavier and I are obsessed with the show, even though it's so fucked up, but like it's addictive, I promise. But yeah, it's from out of print. They just have like really cool shirts, and I'm glad I found one at Barnes & Noble. I didn't even know they sold them outside from online. Anyway, let me do this screen recording thing. Hope it all works out. Fingers crossed for me. Hopefully my camera doesn't die. I just charged it fully. Hopefully nothing happens. Let's just get on with it. Let me figure this out again because I haven't set it up yet. I'm really nervous. But yeah, Happy New Year, guys. I've said that in my last couple videos, but in case you haven't seen them, Happy New Year. What was I doing? Okay. Are we ready? Hopefully this all works out. Let's go. Okay, starting now. All right, so my tiers, as you can see, I made them all this pretty color palette. Also, disclaimer, this is not gonna be aligned with my star ratings, so 3 stars doesn't necessarily mean it's going into my Good Times Never Again tier, if that makes sense. So yeah, but I do have 5 tiers. So the really good ones are unmatched, either new all-time favorites or 5 stars like Chef's Kiss, like you know. The next tier is kind of obsessed, so it's ones that I really love but didn't quite give me that 5-star feel, you know what I mean? Good Times Never Again, so like it was a good time, but I wouldn't reread it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to others. I'll say it's good, glad I read it, but never again. The second to last tier is not the worst, but She Belongs here. So I didn't hate it, but like 1, I wouldn't read it again. 2, it was forgettable, or just I didn't enjoy my time reading it. And then finally I have I Absolutely Could Not, and I could already think of a few that would fit in that category. So here are all my books. Let's just get on into it. So first book, Ellen DeGeneres. This one was called Seriously I'm Kidding. I'm gonna go with Kinda Obsessed because I listened to this on audio and Ellen narrated it and it was just so funny. It was so funny. Also, I'm gonna try to not go too in-depth because obviously we have a lot and I don't want this to be like 2 hours long. Okay, next book, the Kite Runner graphic novel. I'm gonna put in Good Times But Never Again. So I read this in November because I was trying to read a book a day and I just wanted to read a graphic novel, and Xavier loved the novel version of this book and I was like, okay, I'll read the graphic novel, and it was so sad and I don't want to read the original. I'm okay, I'm good, I got the gist. The graphic novel did it for me. Yeah, it was good and I did like the story. I just would not read it again. Oh, that was a reread. I'm not gonna put that on there, but if I were to, I'd put it in Good Times Never Again because I've read it twice already and I'm okay. The Psychopath Test, I'm putting in I Absolutely Could Not. This was not what I expected. It was just all over the place. Also, I'm gonna turn my heater off just in case it's making distracting noises. But The Psychopath Test by John Ronson, I read it through an ebook, so that was probably my fault. Part 1, it wasn't what I was expecting. Mindhunter though, unmatched. I read it at the same time kind of, and Mindhunter just, it was the second true crime book I've ever read. Xavier's mom let me borrow it and I just love John Douglas's writing. He's a profiler, so he goes off of evidence and victimology and stuff like that and then tries to piece together who the serial killer is, and it's just so good. Okay, it's so good and I want to watch the show. Next, Where'd You Go, Bernadette? I Absolutely Could Not. Watched the movie first. That was a mistake on my part. Read this during the reading rush. I absolutely hated it. It was the audiobook and the narrator was awful. Call of the Wild, I Absolutely Could Not. This was my first read of 2020. Did not enjoy it whatsoever. Still gonna read White Fang by Jack London though. Everything I Never Told You. Not the worst, but She Belongs here. After Little Fires Everywhere, I mean, it had no chance. Hoosier Killers, not the worst, but she belongs here. So this was my second to last read of 2020, and Xavier's mom again let me borrow it while we were down there visiting her in Georgia. It was only interesting because I lived in Indiana for 3 years, so I like knew the places they were talking about and everything, but the writing was awful. There were so many typos in the book. It just was not a good time like reading it. I just wanted it to be over. A Man Called Ove. It was good. Good times never again. I probably wouldn't reread this book, but I'll read more by Frederick Bachman for sure, because I did read Anxious People and I absolutely loved it. And A Man Called Ove was good. It just took me a little bit to get into, but it's a heart sweller for sure. It's about this grumpy old man who has a huge heart. It's great. Coraline, the graphic novel. Good times never again. It was creepy. A lot creepier than I thought it would be, especially for a middle grade. Those graphics in the graphic novel were graphic. I read it at night. I was home alone and it was kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. But it was a good story. I mean, I'll watch the movie now. But Station 11, not the worst, but she belongs here. So everyone was like, don't read this during a pandemic. It'll like mess you up even more. But I did anyways, and some parts did affect me surprisingly. Like, I was getting anxious about them talking about like people panic buying, doctors getting sick, flights getting infected, like shit like that, and I was like, this was before I was supposed to fly to Atlanta, but we canceled our flight and we drove instead. That's all a different story, but I just didn't get it. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. There were a couple scenes like when they were at the airport and utilizing their resources, like the gift shop stuff, the restaurants at the airport. That was fun, but everything else, like the whole Shakespeare King Lear thing, I was not about it. Yes, Please, Good Times But Never Again. This was by Amy Poehler. This is her like little memoir. It was my first audiobook on Libby that I listened to. I enjoyed it a lot. I just wouldn't read it again, and I'm not a fan of The Office at all. There were a lot of parts in there about The Office naturally, but she's a funny gal. I love her movies. Little Women, kind of obsessed because of the movie. I didn't like the book as much, and I haven't read part 2, like The Good Wives, yet. I read Little Women in Atlanta and I did have a good time. It was the first time I tried listening to it and reading it physically at the same time, and it did help with my focus, but because I knew what was gonna happen, I just couldn't focus. But yeah, kind of obsessed still. Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. Good Times Never Again. It was a very quick audiobook. I really liked the concept. It was a book that took place within 60 seconds and it was him going down the elevator. And why am I going in depth in all of this? I'm sorry. Okay, next. Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin. Not the worst, but she belonged here. I learned some things, but it wasn't a good self-help book. Eat the Sky, Drink the Ocean. Not the worst, but she belongs here. It had good stories, but I just wanted it to be over. Big Magic, Unmatched. Such a good self-help book. It's by Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love. I'm obsessed with her, so I learned a lot from that. I bought it physically after I listened to it on audio. Dear Martin, Good Times Never Again, but I will read the sequel, Dear Justice. It was a really good book and it had a lot of important topics. I listened to it on audio. It was really quick. It had my jaw drop a couple times, but I wouldn't read it again, but I did really like it. Every Heart a Doorway, I absolutely could not. I don't understand the hype over this series. Yeah, it's short and it's a quick read, and I like the concept of like the different classic stories meshing into one and whatever, but not about it. Love and Gelato, oh, kind of obsessed. I had like mediocre expectations for this book because I thought it was just gonna be like a cheesy romance, but it was so atmospheric. It's set in Italy and it was cute. It was cheesy, but it was a good cheesy. It was the right amount of cheese. When Breath Becomes Air, Good Times But Never Again. So this was really sad. It's nonfiction. I listened to it on audio. I really liked the note at the end written by his wife, but like it was hard to focus. It had a lot of graphic moments because he worked in the medical field. He was a surgeon, so there was a lot of that. It was honestly kind of depressing, but I'm glad I read it. Hunger by Roxane Gay. Kind of upset. So this is Roxane Gay's memoir. I love her. She's a queen. It's a really powerful read. Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's a reread too. Okay, sorry, I'm skipping that, but that would be Unmatched. It's one of my all-time favorites, obviously, because I reread it. Today Will Be Different. I absolutely could not. I read this the first time I went to Atlanta and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It was one of my few 1 stars of the year and I just hated it. That's all. The Fixes. Oh my god, this is so long ago that I read this. Good Times Never Again. I wouldn't reread it again. It was such a thick book, but it was so fast. There were so few words on each page. And the chapters were so short. There were like 100-something chapters in it, but the story was good. It was intense. The Mothers by Britt Bennett. Good Times Never Again. I liked the setting, that it was in California. I liked the characters. I like Britt Bennett's writing, and I will read The Vanishing Half, but this one I want to unhaul. I don't know. I just don't need it. The Secret History, Unmatched. One of my faves of 2020. It is now on my lock screen next to In the Invisible Life of Addy Larue. Spoiler alert. It's gonna be unmatched as well. Paris for One by Jojo Moyes. Not the worst, but she belongs here. I listened to it on audio on a long drive and it gave me what I wanted. I wanted light, fluffy reads and there were short stories and it was good. But yeah, no. Jojo Moyes, I don't think I'd read anything by her again. The Little Book of Hygge I don't remember how to say that word. Good times never again. It was nice listening to this dude talk about the cozy lifestyle and everything. Listening to it on audio was good because he actually pronounced the words correctly. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was fun. The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. Good times never again. It took me so long to read, but it was so good. It was really good. I wouldn't quite put it on kind of obsessed because I didn't like fly through it, which means I didn't really like it too much. But I liked all the aspects of life it touched upon and the stories of the different siblings acting the way they did based on the date that the psychic told them when they were going to die. It was a good time, but wouldn't read it again. Get your shit together. I absolutely could not. Stupid freaking self-help book. The author is just, she thinks she knows everything and self-centered and hated it. Witch Boy, kinda obsessed. This is a graphic novel. I love anything witchy, as you may know, and this was so fun. Make Your Bed. Not the worst, but she belongs here. Eleanor Oliphant's Completely Fine. Unmatched. So funny. Top 10 of 2020. Had such good mental health rep too. The Dazzling Heights. Unmatched. It's not on my top 10, but that series, that trilogy by Catherine McGee, it's so good. If you like Gossip Girl, read the trilogy. It's basically Gossip Girl, but in the future, like way future, and there's all this like drama and stuff. It's so good. Wicker King, I absolutely could not. It was not what I was expecting. You're Wild by Atticus. Good times never again. It's a poetry book. Beginning of last year, wow, that's so weird to say that 2020 was last year, but the beginning of the year I started this thing where I sat at Barnes & Noble and started just reading poetry books. One, to up my Goodreads goal. Two, it's therapeutic for me, okay? So that was one of them. The Afterlife of Holly Chase. Not the worst, but she belongs here. Oh my god, this took me forever to read. I just wanted to get it off my shelf, get it out of my life, but I wanted to finish it. It was a Christmas Carol retelling. The Rules of Magic, kind of obsessed. I love Alice Hoffman's writing. The witchiness in this book was just, oh, the vibes were there. It was so atmospheric. It was so like classic witchiness with like the herbs and everything. Oh, so good. I can't wait to read Magic Lessons and Practical Magic. Little Fires Everywhere. Unmatched. Jane, kind of obsessed. This is what got me interested in Jane Eyre, like ASAP. Children of Blood and Bone was a freaking reread too. Did I reread that? Oh yeah, because I think I read the second. Yeah, I reread it on audio. Okay, yeah, well that would be Unmatched. I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Not the worst, but she belongs here. After reading John Douglas, I just could not. I know they're like two different people completely and their professions are different, but I shouldn't have read it right after John Douglas. Her husband's writing is really good. He wrote like a little note at the end. Educated. Unmatched. That was such a good memoir. If you haven't read it, read it. Soft Thorns. It's another poetry book. Not the worst, but she belongs here. I don't remember it at all. City of Ghosts. Good Times Never Again. I did like the second one in this series. I will read the third one. Girl Wash Your Face. Good Times Never Again. I did learn a lot from Rachel Hollis, and I did read Girl Stop Apologizing, but I wouldn't reread. Moonstruck, I absolutely could not. Oh my god, this graphic novel was another one of those in November that I was like, I just need to read a book, but I hated this book. On the Come Up, kind of obsessed. That was really good. I love Angie Thomas's writing. She's the writer of Hate You Give, if you didn't know. Cersei. I absolutely could not. This was so disappointing. I wanted to like it so badly because everyone and their mamas love it, but I just could not. But I still will read The Song of Achilles eventually. The Towering Sky. This is the last book of that trilogy I was talking about. I really don't know what it's called, but the first book's called The Thousandth Floor, so The Thousandth Floor series. Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany D. Jackson. Good Times Never Again. The Flat Share, kind of obsessed. Oh my god, I love this book. It was so cute and it had such a good balance between humor and like harder hitting topic like an abusive relationship and everything. It really hit that subject on the head, hit the nail on the head, whatever the freaking saying is. Devouring Grey. I don't know why I keep scrolling up and down. I'm sorry if I'm annoying. The Devouring Grey, kind of obsessed. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did, and it took me a little bit to get into, but oh my god, I didn't know this stops at like 24 minutes. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I was saying it took me a little bit to get into, but by the end, it was really good, and I can't wait for a second one. If there is a second one. I hope there's a second one. There better be a second one. Hello Girls. Good Times Never Again. It was a fun read. It's about these two girls who like steal stuff and run away. It was good. Just want to read it again. One Day in December, kind of obsessed. Oh, this was so cute. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did because I thought it was just going to be a light, fluffy romance, but it had such hard-hitting, serious topics sprinkled throughout, and it was really good. Well-Read Black Girl, kind of obsessed because I would reread this physically. I listened to it on audio, and I do want to reread it physically eventually. The Handmaid's Tale, Unmatched. I mean, come on. A Very Large Expansive Sea, Good Times Never Again. It's my first book by Tahira Mafi that I read, and I listened to it on audio, and it was really good, but it was very YA in terms of the romance, but it did discuss the topic of racism towards Muslims really well. Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I forgot the title for a second. Unmatched. I love Children of Blood and Blood and Bone. And the second one was just as good. Can't wait for the third, and apparently there was supposed to be a movie coming out. Don't know if that's still happening, but whatever. The Bride Test, I absolutely could not. Oh my god. Oh my god. The audiobook was so annoying. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it's still gonna go there. Tunnel of Bones, it will be in kind of obsessed because I liked it better than City of Ghosts. My Lovely Wife, kind of obsessed. Oh my god, was this a wild ride. You Are a Badass Every Day, I absolutely could not. I just think it was unnecessary. I read You Are a Badass and You Are a Badass at Making Money, I think is the other book, but I feel like this one was just unnecessary. Reese Witherspoon's book, Whiskey in a Teacup, Good Times Never Again. It was fun. I love Reese. It was available on Libby and I just hit play. Serpent and Dove. Oh, I forgot I read this last year. We're gonna go with Unmatched because I'm gonna put Blood and Honey lower. Here, we'll put her there now. Kinda obsessed. Because I would reread it again because the third one's coming out this year and I want to reread the series because I didn't love Blood and Honey as much, but I know I was also like distracted a lot, so maybe if I reread it, it'll be a different experience. The Silent Patient, Good Times Never Again. I guessed the plot twist. People were saying it's the plot twist of the century. Well, I guessed it, so it was fun. I think I gave it 5 stars, but wouldn't read it again. 9 Stories, not the worst, but she belongs here. I love J.D. Salinger. I love The Catcher in the Rye. I know he has some issues around him, controversy around him, but yeah, still love The Catcher in the Rye. 9 Stories, though, didn't live up to my expectations. The Woman in the Window, kinda obsessed. Okay, no, I'm gonna put it in Unmatched. Even though I know AJ Finn's a piece of shit, it was still so good for me. I'm sorry if I'm trash for saying that. Girls Stop Apologizing, I'm gonna put in Good Times Never Again. Starfish, Unmatched. This was one of my top 10 of 2020 as well. Talked about Asian stereotypes really well and it was just really relatable. Pumpkinheads, kinda obsessed. Love this graphic novel. I think it was the first or second graphic novel I've ever read, and this one's all fall themed and I love it. The Black Flamingo, kinda obsessed. It's a book written in verse. So good. Read it. Normal People, kinda obsessed. Watch the show first and read it through audiobook because I could not get through the physical book. When I watched the show, I was able to put like names to faces and stuff. Faces to names, and it was a whole different experience. And the audiobook has an Irish accent, the narrator has an Irish accent, so it like really brings you in, you know? Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered, Good Times Never Again. I enjoyed listening to it and I enjoyed listening to their stories, but I don't listen to the podcast, My Favorite Murder, so I don't know. Her Royal Highness, kinda obsessed. Oh my god, I love this book. I was not expecting to, especially because it was like a YA romance and I was like, okay, whatever, I just want to get through it. But it was so good, it was so funny. Lock Every Door, Good Times Never Again. I listened to this on audio, so that might be why I didn't like it as much as Home Before Dark. It was still good, it was still fun. I loved the plot twist. It was really dark. Probably won't read it again. The Whisper Man, kinda obsessed. Love this. Like this better than The Shadows by Alex North. So if you're debating between the two, read The Whisper Man. The City We Became. Oh my god. Good times, but never again. So this is the first book I've ever tabbed, and it took me so long to get through. The chapters were so unnecessarily long. This book was unnecessarily long, but the writing was stunning and the concept was cool. Like the 5 boroughs of New York were like individual people and it was really fun to read, but I was expecting a different experience, I guess. City of Girls, Unmatched. Let's go. We love Elizabeth Gilbert, like I said earlier. On Honeymooners, Good Times Never Again. I listened to this on audio. I was nervous to read my first Christina Lauren book because I heard their newer ones are not as good at all. But this is like one of people's faves. It was whatever, it was a romance. The Bookish Life of Nina Hill, oh, kind of obsessed. I have good memories of this. I was reading this during my first road trip with Xavier and it was to his hometown. It was just a good time. I loved it. It was a cozy read, quirky character. Loved it. Loved it. Rare Breed, Good Times Never Again. Xavier read this book, but I got it for free from a women's conference and I liked it, but it's more geared towards entrepreneurs and that is not me. Are You Listening? I absolutely could not. Graphic novel, I didn't get it. Pillow Thoughts 3, Good Times Never Again. Another poetry book. Killer Across the Table, Unmatched. Another John Douglas book. I read that before Mindhunter. That's another one that Xavier's mom let me borrow and it was just so good. That was my introduction to John Douglas and I'm obsessed. The Testaments, Good Times. I don't want to say never again because I do want to reread it if I read The Handmaid's Tale again, so kind of upset because I am obsessed with The Handmaid's Tale. A Curse So Dark and Lonely, Beauty and the Beast retelling, Good Times. I'm gonna put it in never again, but I might reread it eventually because I feel like I didn't get the full experience. I have the second book and I will reread that this month, I'm hoping. Or I will read that next month. Oh my god. I have the second book and I will read it this month, I'm hoping, because the third one comes out this year. Astro Poets. I'm gonna put in kind of obsessed. It's all about astrology and all the signs, and it was just so fun to read. And it was the first book I was reading when Xavier and I got together, so it has good memories. In the Dream House, Unmatched. This was a runner-up for my top 10 of 2020. It's a memoir, one of the best memoirs I've ever read, by Carmen Maria Machado. Beautiful, unfathomable. 3 Things I Know Are True. Not the worst, but she belongs here. I read it for a readathon and it fit the prompt and it was written in verse. It was okay. Girls of Storm and Shadow, Unmatched. It's the sequel to Girls of Paper and Fire, and I love this series. I can't wait for the third one. Starless Sea. I'm gonna put in Good Times Never Again, but I do want to reread it because I just want to experience her writing all over again, even though like I know I'm not gonna get a plot that I want, like a straightforward one. It's just Erin Morgenstern's writing is just so lyrical and beautiful, and I just want to experience it again and maybe get more out of it during a reread. The Mister, Unmatched, top 10. If you like the movie Taken with Liam Neeson, read this book. If you like 50 Shades of Grey, read this book. White Fragility. I'm gonna put it in Kinda Obsessed. It was really good. I learned a lot, but I know there's controversy with the author being white and everything and her profiting off of racism. Don't like rating nonfiction like that, but whatever, we're here. The Family Upstairs, Kinda Obsessed. I just read this on my way to Atlanta last month. It was so good. It was so good. And I just finished Then She Was Gone Yesterday by Lisa Jewell. She's one of my new favorite thriller authors. This is tiring. Oh my god, I have so much left. Okay. Another poetry book, Good Times Never Again. Clap When You Land, Kinda Obsessed. I love Elizabeth Acevedo. I will read this book again because it is in verse. I read it during the reading rush and I was just trying to get through it. Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. Good Times Never Again. It was a fun read. I read it right before moving from Indiana to Illinois and it was a good time. I just wouldn't read it again. The Bromance Book Club. Good Times Never Again. I will read the third one. I read Undercover Bromance last year as well. The audiobooks are really good. No, you know what? I'm putting this one in Kinda Obsessed. And I'm putting Undercover Bromance and Good Times Never Again. Where is it? Here. Okay. Lovely War, Unmatched. Unmatched. This is narrated by Greek gods. Like, can we just? My first historical fiction book that I actually loved. Discovered my love for historical fiction through that book, and the story is everything. Anna Kay is also Unmatched. Was another runner-up for my top 10. It's an Anna Karenina retelling. This is what made me want to read that freaking tome of a book. It's 1,000 pages or something, maybe less. I'm exaggerating, but it's huge and it's a classic and I want to read it now because of this book, and the sequel is coming out this year, so I'm pumped. You Are Not Alone, Good Times Never Again. It was hard to get into this one and get all the characters straight, but by the end, wow, it was a wild ride. The Hand on the Wall, absolutely could not. I can't believe there's 4 books in this series. I thought I only read this to finish a series, and then I found out there's going to be a 4th one coming out this year. I'm just done with the Truly Devious series. Topics of Conversation. I absolutely could not. This was my second book of the month book, and I rated it, like I disliked it and 1 star or whatever, and book of the month sent me a free book because I hated my first experience book of the month, first couple experiences of book of the month. So I liked that part of it, but I didn't get it. I don't know, it was not good. The Kingdom of Back. Good Times Never Again. It was a cool concept. Mozart's sister. There's like fantastical elements in it and stuff, but I didn't like it that much. Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies. Kinda obsessed. This was such a good self-help book. Oh my god. Skinny. I absolutely could not. My friend Allison gave me this book and it was short and I wanted to read something short. And I read it and I don't get it. It was formatted really weirdly. Next up, we have The Great Gatsby graphic novel. Not the worst, but she belongs here. I read this in hopes that I would like want to read The Great Gatsby again soon because I read it for class, and yeah, no, this didn't do it for me. Let's just leave it at that. Get Shit Done. Good Times Never Again. I read this in like 2 hours while Xavier was on business calls, and it's one of his books, and I did learn a couple things. It reiterated a lot of things I already knew. The Shadows. Good Times Never Again. I probably will maybe reread it eventually, years from now, but like I said, I like The Whisper Man a lot more. 15 Minutes of Flame. Good Times Never Again. I got this from Once Upon a Book Club box. Check them out if you don't know what I'm talking about. Box had really good items. Anxious People. I'm gonna put in Unmatched. The characters were so good. Fred, I'm sorry, I just can't think of real words right now. But Frederick Bachman's writing is everything. Like, it's so relatable. He knows how to like cut you to your core. Like, he knows how to get in your soul and like just relate something to every reader. Darling Rose Gold. I'm obsessed with the cover. I'm gonna put in kinda obsessed. The cover is stunning. One of the best covers I've ever seen in my life. And I like how it's like so different from what you would expect from the cover. Like, it's this fucked up story about this mom and the daughter and like revenge and everything. And it's a good thriller and it had me screaming. I was told it would get easier by Abby Waxman. This is the same author as The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. I'm gonna put this in Good Times Never Again. It was a fun read. Probably would have enjoyed it a lot more if I was just starting college. Grown, kind of obsessed. Okay, listen, I listened to this on audiobook and everyone's in love with it, and I was like folding my laundry and I missed the freaking climax. But I know how important it is, and I probably will read it physically again. It's a very important read. Discusses a lot of hard-hitting, very serious topics that will be triggering for some people, so careful with that one. A Song of Wraiths and Ruin, kind of obsessed. I'll definitely read the sequel. It just had a lot of typos in it for some reason, but I was really excited for this release. The story was really fun. Characters are great. Take a Hint, Danny Brown, Unmatched. Oh my god, loved it. Did I put this? I didn't put this in my top 10 in 2020. That would definitely be a runner-up though. In 5 years. Good Times Never Again. I own this book. I love the cover. I love the concept. It was just meh. I think I gave it 3 stars. Horrid. Kinda obsessed. Oh my god. I'm reading Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno right now. I just loved Horrid. Oh my god. It was so weird. It was that she literally eats books physically. It's just so good. You need to pick it up. A Deadly Education. I absolutely could not. Oh my god. I've ranted so hard about this book. I want to give Naomi Novik another chance because I've heard all good things about Spinning Silver and Uprooted, but oh my god, A Deadly Education just ruined her for me. It was so bad. The cover just misled me. It was like, this is why I have trust issues. God, that book was awful. The Invisible Life of Addy Larue, we already know. Unmatched. Best book of the year, best book ever. I have not shut up about this book since. Oh my god, it's just so good. So fucking good. Okay, let me stop scrolling. Chill. Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Kind of obsessed. Oh my god. That was a good time. I was genuinely scared reading this book. I Hope You Stay. Good Times Never Again. Another poetry book. The Catcher in the Rye was a reread too. Damn, I reread a lot this year. Wow. Okay, sorry. We know that's an all-time fave. Franny and Zoe. Again, not Catcher in the Rye, so I absolutely could not. Wait, where did I put the other by J.D. Salinger? Oh, shoot. Okay, we're gonna put her next to the other J.D. Salinger. Oh my god, this one? I don't even remember the title. Don't Tell Me I Love You Till I Die. Don't Wait Till I Die to Love Me. It's this poetry book that was given to me as an ARC by the author, and the author is just like rude. Let me just tell you, like, he asked for an honest opinion, and then when I gave it to him, he like got all defensive and like rude, so we don't stand. I also read his wife's poetry book and I got it as an ARC too, like an e-ARC, and I liked her writing better, so we're gonna put this here just in spite of him. Untamed, Unmatched. Really good self-help book. The cover is beautiful. This is the free book that Book of the Month gave me. The Midnight Library. I was so disappointed in this book, but it was still good. People were comparing it to Addy Larue and I was like, how dare you? We're gonna put it in Good Times Never Again. I do kind of want to reread it eventually just to see if my experience it changes, but yeah, no, not this year. The Last Flight, Unmatched. This was in my top 10. This is the thriller that got me into thrillers. Beach read. This one was really good too. I've heard mixed things about this, but I loved it. We're gonna put it in, we're gonna put it in Unmatched because it's a book about writers and it's not just a romance. There were really serious topics discussed in there, like grief and just life in general. It was just really good, okay? Break Your Glass, Slippers, Good Times Never Again. Another poetry book by Amanda Lovelace. I would read her other books again, but not this one. I mean, it was basic. I like the little illustrations, but yeah. Failing Forward. Fucking hated this book. Oh my god. This was a book of Xavier's that I read for my reading his business books vlog. This was the first one I read and it was awful. The second one though was Onward, which is over here, and I loved it. Kind of obsessed. Went through like the behind the scenes of Starbucks and everything, and he's reading it now. I just didn't like the business parts, obviously, because it didn't like apply to me, but he's absolutely loving it and he's raving about it. He's giving it 5 stars on Goodreads. Follow him on Goodreads. I made him one. Witch and Wizard by James Patterson. I absolutely could not. James Patterson is just, why is he everywhere? Another one by Elizabeth Gilbert, Committed. We're gonna put it in Kinda Obsessed, even though it took me forever to get through. Girl Interrupted. I did not enjoy my time reading this book, but it's about her life and her like mental health. The mental health, and oh, we're gonna put in Not the Worst, but She Belongs Here. I feel bad about Girl Interrupted, but sorry. Anne of Green Gables, Xavier bought for me, and I read it during quarantine. We're gonna put it in Good Times, Never Again. Sorry, Xavier. It's nothing against you. Nothing personal, I promise. So yeah, wow, that's everything. Holy shit. Here we go. That's a lot. I had a lot of, I absolutely could not. I think I have a good balance though. I'm usually one of those people who are like, I don't know, let me just put everything in the middle, you know? But I think I was very not as lenient as I usually am. But yay, that was fun. I'm glad I did this. Let me stop the recording. How long did that take? Oh my god, 50 minutes. God, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. I'm not ready to edit this. Hopefully I don't lose this footage. I will cry. I will fucking cry. Maybe I'll do other tier ranking videos. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all had a great day. Stay safe and stay positive always, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!